All right, first things first. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas holiday season. Secondly, I do apologize for not being able to stream, but we have been very busy during this Christmas holiday season. So I will be bringing the breakdown of Abi to you through the videos on my YouTube channel, which if you haven't subscribed, please do already. We will be breaking down all 17 matches in the 15 days, and I think I'm a little clever by also saying in the title all 15 bouts. Then again, I say Abi accomplishes the Yusho, so you still get him winning. And I did have people complaining about the thumbnail, to which I say it's a live sporting event. If you don't want to know who wins, then avoid the news. You know, if you don't want to find out who wins the Super Bowl, don't read the newspaper the next day. You know, I don't know what to tell you. So we will be breaking down the matches Abi has given us this tournament, and well, he put on a good show. Of course, there is, well, I will say controversial way it ended because, oh no, he henka'd, whoa! It's sumo. You can henka in sumo. If you don't like it, stop watching sumo. It's that easy. But yeah, Abi performed very well this tournament. Didn't really expect him to be in that Yusho race. Then again, we did expect him to do very well for himself from the rank of Maegashira 9. Didn't expect the Yusho, especially when so many other sumo wrestlers were looking great. Hoshoryu early on in the tournament. Takayasu could have brought it to a close at the very end. But we will be going through Abi like we usually do. Abi is going to be blue, and whoever his opponent is going to be pink. And I'll try to keep to that throughout. And I am using my own footage here, so I don't have to constantly open and close all these other things and try to find the match. That's another thing that helps myself out. Thank you, past me. So here we have Aoyama versus Abi. Aoyama trying to scoop up those arms, but he just can't. He moves backwards, and he takes the loss. It was very simple and quick match. We could see it again at real time. A lot of it is Abi great pushing forward. Aoyama just not really able to withstand the attack, and you can even hear me say it during live. He misses a few of those blows, and as soon as I take a sip of my tea, we'll get into it. So, right off the Tachi-ai, we have Abi coming up into the chest. Oops. I already messed up. I said he was going to be blue. Abi coming up into the chest like he usually does, going straight for the neck like he usually does so he could prop up his opponent and then push them out using all that, you know, frontal leverage force that he usually gets. Aoyama scooped those arms up to try to get up underneath, and, you know, he's fought Abi before. Everyone knows Abi's style. He scoops up to try to deflect those attacks higher, so Abi either goes up over the shoulders and misses, or, you know, hits the face, which Aoyama can power through, which sounds difficult, but for these big guys, all you need is one thrust to miss, and you can keep moving forward, which you're going to see here. As Abi keeps pushing forward, he lands another. Actually, we could slow this down now that we're on YouTube. Abi comes out fire. A lot of quick thrusts there, but you could see Aoyama, he missed the thrust to the face and then pulls it back in. He's stood completely straight up, and this is one of those matches where it's just simply straight off the Tachi-ai. Abi had all of the pressure going forward. This left arm is in kind of an awkward spot, but if he uses it to push down into the chest, he's also going to be using that right arm, which is a bit more of a pistol in there to push through Aoyama's chest. And then Aoyama, all he does is walk backwards as he usually does, and that is the win for Abi, who Abi even tries to catch him by the forearm so he doesn't fall out. That's a little bit of a cute maneuver. But yes, honestly, nothing too unexpected, nothing too impressive out of Abi in this first match of the tournament. Just standard Abi maneuvers, going high, pushing forward. Aoyama stumbling backwards, and he takes the L. 1-0 for Abi. Next match is going to be against, well, we'll see it in a second, going to be up against Chioshoma. And a lot of people don't like Chioshoma for some reason. I still don't understand it. Chioshoma can put on some good sumo. And although he does have the reputation of being one of the Henka experts because he is very good at Henka, he's also just solid at sumo. He's at Maegashira 10. I mean, he deserves that rank. So now going up against Abi, we'll see how it goes. Kind of similar, but this time he doesn't get as much frontal push at that Tachi-ai. And it's only on that second effort that he does manage to actually push forward through Chioshoma. So we can see it again here. Abi does go high to the throat, and I even say live that Chioshoma tries to fight the thrusting game with the thrusting game. You could see it. Chioshoma tries to grab the belt there, and because he can't grab it, he can't really do much of anything. Oops, I meant to pause it, but I went backwards. So we'll slow it down from here. And I think this is going to be much better for us in the future for these matches. Abi, again, hands right to these shoulders. And Chioshoma, again, defensively trying to scoop up and get those arms so he could parry it. And later we'll see he tries to go for the belt. But right now he is trying to parry so he can dive forward for a chance. Right there, there was a little, very subtle tug. Let me see if I can back it up frame by frame here, which you can on YouTube with the comma and the period keys if you didn't know that. Chioshoma tries to go for the pull on Abi's arm right here to pull him down, and then he goes for the belt afterwards. But it doesn't work. It's a very small, quick move that doesn't work because Abi has this right hand still applying pressure up high, and he just can't get close enough to it. Not to mention the fact that even though he gets pulled, Abi pulls his own arm back and then pushes straight back up into the face of Chioshoma. So Chioshoma tried to get a little bit more inside so he can get that grip on the belt right here. And because that little move right there, if he does keep his grip on the belt, he might be able to get chest to chest, but it's not what's going to happen here. And even if he does try to get chest to chest, I think Abi still just has fantastic positioning here. His hands are up high in the throat. He pulls those hips back even. You can see he wiggles that hip away, and that's something you see in that high-level Yotsuzumo, men wiggling their hips so they don't get grabbed. Abi knows how to defend against that Yotsuzumo, so he takes the step back so he can reset, and now in the middle of the ring, he's going to go for another solid push forward, lands on the face, and even though I did kind of glance to the side, that left arm did hit air, but that right hand went right across Chiyoshoma's face. That's what's going to give him the momentum to keep driving forward because he follows up with that chokehold. And that, I mean, once you start moving backwards in sumo, it is very hard to stop yourself. And you're going to see in just a second, Chiyoshoma is going to try to take that step back to the Tawara, but he's actually going to step over and out. So again, just another small missed opportunity. If he actually gets the foot on the Tawara, he can save himself, but Abi, I mean, again, overwhelming advantage from this position. Both hands up high, pushing forward. He has all the momentum just going forward into Chiyoshoma's neck, face, chest, and there really isn't much Chiyoshoma can do. Pushing forward by the face, Chiyoshoma. Very good win for Abi as he goes 2-0. Abi with a strong and powerful win. Next match is going to be up against Tochinoshin. Going high against Tochinoshin. And, well, at full speed, it looks like Tochinoshin grabbed the belt and then slipped forward. Let's see that again. Abi goes high. Tochinoshin does grab the belt, and Abi throws him to the side. So it is a bit of a combination of a slip and a throw. So let's go back to half speed here. Abi, I don't think I'm going to need to say this every single time. Hands up to the throat, I mean, there are a few exceptions where he doesn't go hands up to the throat, but 2 hands up on the throat, Tochinoshin is going to try to fight through it. You can see he's bringing his own hips forward, and he's keeping his feet sturdy on the ground, and he's mostly bringing the hips forward so he can have better chance to grab the belt with that left outside, his favorite grip. He manages to resist the attack, and you can even see here Tochinoshin has the hand to the side, and this is where, much like Chioshoma in the last fight, sees the opening. Now he's going to go for the belt. Unfortunately, we kind of already saw it. His foot is slipping just a little bit here, and it could be because of the medical sock, could be because, oh, the dohyo is pretty slippery this tournament, which I feel like we say that every tournament. But it's not mostly going to be about that slip and losing footing. We could see Abi recovering quite nicely by swinging his head back down and into the chest, because this is how he creates the separation, kind of Takakeisho-esque move, where he puts the head, the elbows in so he could push off, and whether he goes backwards or his opponent goes backwards, he's going to create distance so he can get that second push. But Tochinoshin, like I said, is going to try to swing down for this belt in just a moment. Oops. Right there. Gets the grip on the belt, but he pulls his hips back way too far. So even though he had Abi in the chest, he pulls his hips way too far back in an effort to grab this belt. I'm not sure why he has the foot retreat so far. It could be the, full frontal force of Abi making him try to go to the side, and maybe he overestimated how far back he could bring himself. But I do think that most of this is on Tochinoshin miscalculating how far back he needed to go in order to get a favorable position, because right after this, Abi twists him to the side, and it's mainly because he has no footing that he is able to twist to the side. Like, you can see that foot immediately comes up off the ground because it was all the way back here. He had a straight leg. Abi, he swings his body around, so Tochinoshin loses the grip. Well, Tochinoshin never really had the grip, and because of that, you can see he has a nice arm wrap or nice arm throw right here, swinging around, twisting Tochinoshin's arm, so Tochinoshin, the rest of his body, is just gonna go with it. So really nice maneuver right there. Quick maneuver from Abi to get that sidestep, get the throw down, and again, a little bit of a column A, a little column B. Tochinoshin stepped too far back and slipped. Abi took advantage of it and was able to get the throw down. And that's the thing about just competitions in general, is knowing when you can take advantage of an opponent's mistake, because it's not enough that, you perform perfectly. It's knowing and recognizing when your opponent makes a mistake and knowing how to strike to take advantage of it. Abi does a good job right there in that split second. Next, it's going to come to his first loss of the tournament against Onosho, who, honestly, I expected Onosho to be in Abi's shoes right now, and I feel like I may be too high on Onosho for some reason. I don't really know why. It might be because when I first started watching, Onosho was one of those, young guys, looked really good, coming up the ladder, performing well, and, when I first started watching, him and Hokuseiho both were like, oh, if they're below Maegashita 6, they're getting 10 wins easy. And it looked like Onosho would have been the dark horse of this tournament if not for, however he performed later on in the tournament. But right here, Abi going high. Onosho plows through him at that Tachi-ai. And you can see right here, when Abi loses the Tachi-ai, he struggles to keep up. And even though he was getting good hands to the neck, Onosho was just able to get straight through. So right off the Tachi-ai, let me slow it back down again. I wonder if there's a button to just do that automatically. But going in for this Tachi-ai, Abi gets the good hands to the face like he usually does, but Onosho, he had a force downwards that he's driving forward through that push to the face. And that's kind of what Abi is weak to. Abi strikes the face, but the rest of the body is going to be moving forward for his opponent. And here, Onosho, he's like a cannonball. He pushes forward and through, and he gets good hands to the chest. Those hands to the chest force the entire body of Abi to be pushed back, whereas Abi's hands to the face is good at disorienting and throwing your opponent off balance, such that he would want to play more defensively, you know? That's what happened to Aoyama on day one. But here, Onosho, he's pushing on through. He does not care that he has hands to the face. He takes those steps forward, and Abi is going to try to jump to the side here and get the slap down. Like, he's going to pull this arm up and try to slap down. But Onosho is going to keep his footing. He swings that back foot around really quickly. Let me go back couple frames first. Oops. Swings around that back foot really quickly. Watch that left foot in these couple of frames, because that's what he's going to use to catch himself here. Abi leaping up again for this slapdown attempt. He's going really high to try to get over the back, but it's like I've said before, if you just have your feet underneath you, you can't be slapped down. And Onosho is going to swing that foot around, get that stability, and he's going to use that basically against Abi, because now Abi is in a really weird spot. He's the one leaping upwards. He's actually, like, his feet are leaving the ground. He's going up to try to get this slap down, but it's not going to work because Onosho is going to get that foot underneath him, and as a result, Abi is going to stumble because he has no balance. Pretty much an unforced error here from Abi. All he did was attack and then mess up and slip and fall. You know, good effort from Onosho to be able to fight through that initial assault at the Tachi-ai. But this was, you know, Abi slipping and falling for the most part. I'm almost out of tea already. Not a very good match for Abi. We've seen him win in that fashion before, so I'm not really upset at the fact that he went for it. And I do love these like cinematic freeze frames where you can see the speed lines like whoosh, zooming in. Looks like an anime. Oh my god. But Onosho with a really nice win there. All he had to do was play a little bit of defense while doing his usual push forward, and Abi slips and falls. Next up, Abi versus Takanosho. Abi going high, Takanosho trying to do the same thing, and, well, this time it works for Abi. He doesn't pull his feet up off the ground to try to go for that slap down. He keeps his feet on the ground, and instead of trying to push down, he just pulls and drags Takanosho to the ground. And, I mean, this is actually the perfect correction to what happened in this match. Because we're going to see in versus Onosho, he pulls back and slips and falls. But then against Takanosho, he's going to do the same thing without the slipping and the falling. He's going to pull back and get the slap down. So it's a tale of two different days, basically. You know, one day he didn't bring his A game, didn't get that good sumo. The next day, he brought a much better game and was able to get that slap down in the way he wanted to. And I don't really think I need to slow it down this time, but it's basically just the same as yesterday. Can't really get those hands to the face. Takanosho plows forward, and Abi right around here, this is where he's going to get that slap down. Big slap to the back right there. He's pulling those feet. He's shuffling those feet to the side. That's something you're taught in a lot of sports, is how to shuffle your feet so you can keep your footing, keep your balance. Abi didn't do that yesterday. He does that today as we go frame by frame. You know, I upload these things at 60 FPS, but it looks like they only do 24 on YouTube for some reason. But anyway, yeah, just really good pull with that right arm. You can see it's underneath the armpit of Takanosho. Nice slap down to the back of Takanosho. Just really basic Hataki Komi. Come on. There we go. 4-1 for Abi, which was about to as expected going into the second trimester of the tournament. His next opponent, Koto-shoho. And it's the same thing. Literally 3 days in a row, he does the same exact thing. There we go. Abi pushes up, pulls back. Koto-shoho taken advantage of. Hands to the face. And this time he didn't even need that much of a solid slap to the back against his opponent here. This time Koto-shoho is the one to slip, and he slips forward down to the ground. Abi, of course, does slap him on the back because you kind of have to. You don't know what your opponent's going to be doing. But really quick and easy. Slaps down. Again, not really too much else to say here. And it is funny how he pulls the same move 3 days in a row. He failed the first time, got it the second and the third. Here we go. Abi pulling down. Not even a contest. Abi, some really smart sumo here. And a lot of people might say, oh, it's boring sumo, because, you know, you could say something like this is Henka-esque in that it is, you know, a step back at the Tachi or after the Tachi-ai. But it is a solid Tachi-ai, and when Abi doesn't win the Tachi-ai, he pulls back and tries to go for the slapdown. 3 days in a row he did it. Very fair play. If Koto-shoho saw that coming, he keeps his feet underneath him like Onosho did, and the match continues. Koto-shoho. Not bad sumo from Abi. Next up, against Takarafuji, Abi just kind of gets the win there. A little bit of an editing gaffe on my end. I didn't really allow much time for the Tachi-ai, but we could see as we're fading in, classic Abi, hands up high to the chest, and against a struggling Takarafuji, old veteran, Yotsuzumo specialist, he's just taking advantage of him. Takarafuji did get a good parry on that left arm. He popped up that left arm from Abi, but Abi pulled it back and used it. Oh, excuse me. And used it to thrust right back at that chest again. And then he doesn't do repeated thrusts over and over again either. Abi just kept the hand to the face, kept the hand to the chest, and was, you know, pushing these legs forward so he can get that push forward. Takarafuji, you can see he's trying to hold on to this arm so he could probably either pull it down and he can get a grip on the belt like we saw with Chioshoma, or maybe he's just trying to survive this onslaught and be like, oh God, please get this off of my face. And that's kind of what it looks like, because immediately after that, we slow it down a bit here. Gets another slap to the face. Abi is going to follow up with another left hand to the face. Takarafuji still has both arms on this left elbow of Abi, which those need to be down on the belt or those need to be thrusting back. But Takarafuji very slow on the uptake. Abi does slip backwards, and now he's not in a good position, actually. His hips are turned like facing out. The feet are turned facing out. His shoulders are, you know, square and forward. But this is not a good position for Abi in this moment, but he's going to swing it back around momentarily. And because Takarafuji doesn't really have an offense to speak of against Abi in this match, it's just big push. And even right here, Abi is in an awful position. But because of the big forceful push that Abi sent Takarafuji like actually flying out of, or to the edge of the ring, Takarafuji has zero momentum. He cannot push back because all of that momentum is going out of the ring, and he's just gonna walk it backwards. Abi did have a nice turn on those hips to follow up, but pretty sloppy in that match. I think his hips were turned in an awkward way. There was, I mean, everything was going in his favor in that moment, so it doesn't really matter in the end. But still, against a better sumo wrestler, that gets taken advantage of. Shoving him cleanly out of the ring. Next match going in 6-1. is going to be up against Endo, another ailing veteran, which I feel like I've been saying that a lot this past year. Abi going high, pushing forward, Endo, no resistance, and that's the win. Yeah, just like I said in live. Just simple Abi, hands to the shoulders, keeps Endo at a distance. Endo can usually fight, you know, whatever style he feels. He's good at both, but Abi keeping that distance, he actually takes a step back, or maybe that's a slide back away at the Tachi, but he keeps the distance, keeps the hand up on the throat, and, well, I'm going to keep repeating myself this video because Abi is very one-dimensional in his style. Although, you know, it's like that Bruce Lee quote, I don't fear a man who practiced 1,000 punches once, I fear the man who practiced one punch 1,000 times. And that's what Abi does. He does the same thing every time, and he's damn good at it. That's why right here, hands to the throat against Endo. Endo trying to parry with this left hand up inside the elbow, probably trying to do the same thing with that right. Abi going. And you can see Endo actually tried to get the pull on the right arm there, but Abi, nice maneuver here. He actually lowers this left shoulder, raises the right shoulder so he can swim move this back as he gets like an uppercut straight to the chest. What's that called? Like right in the middle of the chest, the solar plexus. He lowers those shoulders, he tilts those shoulders so he can get a better angle of attack here. And he does need to correct that quickly. Otherwise, again, against a better sumo wrestler, that's going to get taken advantage of because now he leaves this armpit wide open for attack. But because Endo is on the defense and Endo was just pulling this arm in, Endo can't quickly counterattack at that armpit. And Abi, knowing this, gets the solid push right up high to the face. Like I said, gets that jab to up high. Endo is still pulling that right arm. He doesn't want to be pulling. He's at the edge of the ring. And just the follow-up from Abi gets the win right there. That's kind of exactly what I said would happen. That's exactly what's going to keep on happening. Me? Nishikifuji is a very solid opponent as well. If I remember correctly, he's the one that everyone gets hyped about. No, wait, no, that's Midori Fuji. The one that does the Tazkashis. And is probably the only reason why I know that at Kimarite so well. But Nishikifuji has been making a name for himself, has been performing much higher than my own expectations, which, you know, as a commentator, and, you know, we've seen it on NFL Sundays all the time. I'm sure there were a lot of people that predicted, you know, France to win that World Cup, but, you know, sometimes analysts are wrong. And I do like being proven wrong, especially by some guys, young, fresh, very interesting, awesome sumo like Nishikifuji. I don't remember if he wins this match though, because the Basho was so long ago, but let's see what happens here. Abi going high, gets deflected, and pulled. Very nice win for Nishikifuji. And you can see, like normal, Abi is going high, and on that defense, Nishikifuji gets the pull on the arm, much like what, again, 3 days in a row, it's kind of the same thing. Abi gets the win on the first two. Takarafuji and Endo tried to go for the pull on the arm, but they couldn't. But now, here, it finally works. The defensive pull on that attacking arm. You can see even Nishikifuji tried to go for a belt grip right off the Tachi eye. If we back this up frame by frame, might be a couple dozen frames here. Tries to go for a grip on the belt, but misses it, and then doesn't even try to use the arm to deflect the attack. He just kind of pulls it away. So that's a bad first sign. Misses the grip on the belt. Abi, nice hand up to the throat. Oops, I didn't mean to continue it, but that's fine. But now, in a bad position, Nishikifuji starts to retreat. Abi does his usual thing. He's pushing forward. Very nice placement on these thrusts to the chest. But this is where it's kind of hard to see. Nishikifuji throws the arm out to try to smack Abi to the side. And you see that a lot. The dudes will wind up and then boing, swing that big arm to get as much force as they can into that thrust. So that's what's happening here. Nishikifuji pulled that arm back. He's going for the big thrust to the side, and that is actually what throws Abi off balance. It's a combination of Abi's full frontal attack and the step to the side, pulling those feet and hips back, and that slap to the side. So a lot of things happening at once. Nishikifuji able to take advantage of it. Let's see if we can back this up by a couple of frames again, because it happens very, very quickly. And we could see the results of it already happening here. Got that slap to the shoulder. He's going to pull this foot, this right foot, pulling it back. Hips are going to go with it. Shoulder's going to go with it. He's going to stay square the entire way. And after that happens, Abi is left in a very vulnerable position because all of his momentum was going this way, gets diverted that way. You know, if you took a physics class, you know what vectors are. Gets diverted that way. And now he's wide open for attack as soon as Nishikifuji gets back to his feet. But we've seen Abi be quick on his feet as well and recover. He has this right foot planted already. I don't remember if he takes another step or if he just goes for the turn as soon as he lands this foot down. But either way, both of these men are very quick on their feet. And what happens next, Abi looks like it's a combination of a pull from Nishikifuji. You could see a nice positioning on that forearm. He's getting, I can't really tell if this other arm's getting a grip around Abi's left arm, but Abi tries to pull this foot forward and it's not going to get set. As a result, Abi is just going to fall forward and out of the ring. He doesn't have his feet underneath him. Like I said, you need to have, like how Onosho defend or attacked through Abi. That's exactly what Abi needed to do here. It doesn't happen. Abi gets thrown, pulled, tumble. Very good win for Nishikifuji right there. And some very good sumo from both men. Next up, Abi versus Ryuden. Like the chat says right there, Ryuden is absolutely no slouch. You can't sleep on Ryuden. He's really showing up, and I guess spending the year basically absent and training in the lower division hyperbolic time chamber. He's gotten a lot of good practice. He's well rested, and now he's performing well in the tournament. His opponent Abi here, Ryuden, a slow scoop upwards, but Abi just keeping those hands to the face. Not too many thrusts either way, but Abi makes another mistake, lets Ryuden get behind him, and that's the win for Ryuden. Right at the Tachi-ai, Abi, usual hands up high, but he doesn't go for the Tsupari. He doesn't go pow, 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 like E Honda. He just keeps those hands there and tries to go for the push. And I'm not sure why he doesn't try to follow up on more of those attacks. I think it might be because Ryuden is keeping a very strong left hand inside, and Abi might not want to give up more of that position. But either way, Abi, well, let me slow this back down again. Abi is going to go on the push forward. Ryuden is kind of being abused here. But this is where, again, Abi, I think he needs to pull back and to strike again. But we can also see that he's not in a good position. Hips, shoulders, feet, all not, or actually that's a bad line right there. They're all facing not Ryuden. Not Ryuden. Not Ryuden. Ryuden getting that step to the side, and maybe Abi is playing it safe because he doesn't want to be taken advantage of like he was yesterday. You can see Ryuden getting the hand right to that shoulder again. He's pulling the feet, hips, shoulder back and away and trying to get Abi, stumbling along this line that he's facing right now. Abi is taking it slower this match because he doesn't want that to happen again. So they're going to kind of stay in this position for a little while until Abi does finally square up, that's the wrong color, does square up with another Tsupari to the chest. But after that, this is where Ryuden is, once again, able to withstand the attack. They're basically just restarting the Tachi-ai. Abi getting a nice strong thrust, but Ryuden with a very nice deflection. He pushes the arm up, which is what a lot of other guys try to do off the Tachi-ai. Push the arm up, and now he has free reign to try to go and grab the belt. He doesn't even need to do that because that push up underneath the elbow sends Abi, well, his attack gets completely deflected. He was this way. He wanted to go vroom vroom, but he gets just way off track. Ryuden with that perfect parry right at the edge there. And then not really too much else to say. Once your opponent's behind you, it's almost impossible to come back from. This will be the last time we see Abi lose this tournament as we head into the final trimester. He is going up against Oho here. One of my favorites, 9-1. Excuse me. Abi doing his usual thing. Oho trying to push him to the side, and Abi does not let it happen. Charges straight through him. Very strong initial charge. Abi getting those hands placed in the right spot, and he's looking a lot more Takakeisho-esque right there. Really throwing his head into it. So we're just gonna, boom, freeze frame. Abi in the better position, has those hands inside, head down, and a little bit of a head bump right there. Follows up, keeps the distance, boom. Another headlong charge into the chest. Oho can't really handle it, is getting pushed back, boom, another one. Boom, another one. Abi really throwing himself into it, and this was also a complete miscue. Like, look at the position. Abi nearly just misses. He almost misses right here in this freeze frame, but he has this hand on Oho's arm, so Oho can't pull it away, turn him to the side, and slap him down. That hand right here for Abi gives him the win, because if Abi doesn't have this hand here, he doesn't keep Oho in this position to be able to push him out. Oho instead gets this arm around and slaps Abi to the side. But because that arm is restricted in its movement, Abi pops him up, pushes him out. A little extra shove at the end there. And now he has to prepare for tomorrow, where he will be facing Hoshoryu. False start from Abi, a big one too, trying to get a nice jump. We kept the false start in this video because it's a complete mind game. Hoshoryu becoming Ozeki, we would have to talk about that in January. It wouldn't that false start from Abi is very important because he never really false starts. And that's why. And there it is, Abi with the mind game, the fake out, and the henka. It's a well-performed henka too. Almost Chioshoma-esque. He gets the leap up at the Tachi-ai. He's definitely going to the side here. Gets the big hand up around the back. The other hand right on the back of the head right here. So, well executed henka right off the bat. Henka attempt, and there it is. Abi with the mind game, the fake out, and the henka. And I do want to say, I barely saw anyone complain about that henka. Just like at the previous tournament where Takakeisho henka'd and everyone was bitching about it, and then the very next day Wakataka Kage henka'd Takakeisho. I'm like, yeah, none of you people are complaining about that one. But honestly, oh, Molly is activated. Honestly, very good henka from Abi right there. Don't think there was anything wrong with that, and just well performed henka. And of course, you might have the people that are like, oh, henka should be banned, henka should be illegal. And it's like, yeah, so should, kneeling the football. Why are you allowed to run out the clock? Run a real play. Don't just kneel the football and win the game. Don't just henka. Don't intentionally walk the batter. That's bad. I want to see real sports. This is real sports. This is it. That's sumo right there. That was good sumo, actually. I'm not just saying that to be inflammatory at this point. That was a very, very well performed henka from Abi. Next up against Kagayaki. And that's another thing too. You could argue Abi had a weak schedule, but he also earned all 3 of his losses against weaker opponents. Well, air quote, weaker opponents. Kagayaki in the Yusho race, somehow, you know. Oho in the Yusho race. Wakataka Kage, a Seki Wake. And then, of course, on the final day, you know, he gets his wins there. But that's something we can talk about when we get there. Kagayaki versus Abi, 2 pusher thrusters. Kagayaki slow to the Tachi-ai, and Abi takes full advantage of it. Nothing really anything complicated here. It's just going to be Abi, boom, hands straight to the shoulders, and Kagayaki trying to block with those hands scooping upwards. And that seems to be the common defense against someone like Abi, but it seems to not work a lot of the time. Abi does kind of get pushed to the side here, but he keeps his footing and turns with Kagayaki. Kagayaki now getting pushed back, just like Aoyama on day 1, getting pushed back. Abi throwing the body into the charge here, gets that, you know, forearm. You can't see it from this angle, but he does get the shoulder down, the forearm forward to blast through Kagayaki. And once that happens, Kagayaki pushed out, and, you know, Abi taking a nice look at those boobies. He's holding him by the hips. He's like, woo, a wooga. And that's going to be the win for Abi. 10-3. Here's another strong opponent. Abi versus Hoshoryu. Hoshoryu's unfortunate collapse, but he put on a hell of a show. Hoshoryu grabs the belt immediately, but Abi steps back. Completely unexpected too, especially with such a Tachi-ai. I kind of hate the WWE camera going on right here, but Abi has a bad Tachi-ai. He missed at the Tachi-ai. Hoshoryu gets a bit of a sidestep. He grabs the belt. Molly is barking. And from here, Hoshoryu, having that grip on the belt, pushes forward. Abi, to defend against it, he pulls his entire head and shoulders back down into his body like he's coiling up right now like a spring. You can kind of see these rolls in his fat. That's how he's coiling up right now. But as he's stepping back, he tries to get the leverage again by pulling himself underneath Hoshoryu. And it's with this right forearm that he is able to get that leverage. He pulls back and actually attacks that outside arm. So Hoshoryu is forced to release the grip. Because of that, Abi now has the chance for some sort of, you know, attack or defense at the edge. He could recharge, but it's Hoshoryu here that has all the momentum. So Hoshoryu is going to use that to try to go forward. And you can see right here, Hoshoryu's feet are not in good position. Almost directly in a line, front to back. You want those feet next to each other so you can be square. He needs to bring this foot around so he can have that square footing. But because of his feet being off, now his hips aren't square. They're facing this way. His feet are facing this way. His shoulders, sure, head on with Abi, but you need all parts of your body to be moving in tandem, going in the same direction, because if they're not, you get thrown off balance and you get thrown down to the ground. Let's go back frame by frame a little bit. There was a moment where Abi was directly in front of Hoshoryu, and it's going to be after Hoshoryu swings these feet around, but you can even see right here, those shoulders aren't square either. Abi gets a nice counterattack up here to the face and uses that because he knows Hoshoryu, now that he's square, is going to try to push forward. Abi's going to use that to step to the side, pull down on those arms, and get the slap.
Hoshoryu down! Abi takes it!
What a slap down at the edge for Abi. Abi has that mini Akebono build. versus Abi. And this is the big one. This is going to be number 1 on my top 10 list, or rather was, because that was posted on Wednesday. This I'm going to be posting after. But if you haven't seen it already, go watch my top 10 matches of the Kyushu Basho video, because this is number 1. I mean, come on. This match was insane. And this match is very chaotic, so I'm not going to... There's going to be a lot of it that can't be, like, reasonably, air quotes, broken down because it's so chaotic. It's like, sure, you can break it moment to moment to see how and why they got there, which is what we're going to do as best as we can. Throat thrust his way to an attempt at the Yusho. Abi, well, if Takayasu wins here, that's just, you know, he gets the Yusho. Abi going high. Takayasu fighting fire with fire. Nice thrusts. Takayasu keeping his balance. Very slow moving forward, methodical on the attack. Abi just playing defense the entire time until this recharge. So that was actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because Tachi is the same. They both go high at each other. And it's the entire time Takayasu is going to be on this attack. And we can slow it down here. Takayasu's going to be on the attack the entire time. Abi keeps trying to get a lot of these thrusts and throws into his face, but Takayasu is blocking with high inside, low inside. Abi keeps trying to, you know, go high, but he keeps getting blocked. And so as a result, Abi needs to keep stepping backwards to, you know, keep that distance. He's an Oshizumo wrestler. He cannot give up the belt. He's going to keep stepping backwards. And Takayasu is afraid to overcommit to anything. Because even right here, if Takayasu took an extra step forward, he probably gets slapped down at the edge. And it could be Takayasu was afraid to lose. Now, we can't exactly get into the minds of the sumo wrestlers, but if you think about it this way, if you watch the match at full speed, which we will again after this, Takayasu is fighting to not lose. He is not fighting to win, and there's a very big difference. You know this if you watch any other sport as well. If you fight to win, you take a couple of risks. If you fight to not lose, you play it safe the entire time. And that's exactly what Takayasu is doing. Abi is doing everything he can defensively. And right here, you're going to see him just keep throwing, step around the edge of the ring. And right there, he's ready for a slapdown. Look at the position of his hands. This is a horribly unnatural position. He's like throwing jazz hands up in the air like, wah. And like, what is this? He's going for the slapdown right here, but Takayasu doesn't commit. Takayasu just goes straight for more thrusts that Abi is able to fight back with. And now, again, Abi is hopping backwards. Takayasu is on the offense. He's the one pushing the entire time. Abi gets the sidestep again. Takayasu doesn't overcommit again, which is good in this instance. But right here, Abi gets the recharge. Takayasu digs down, digs deep, gets the head down inside, and now he's the one getting thrust back. Abi is now on the attack, and when Abi is on the attack, he puts everything into it. It's night and day. Abi chaotically moving forward, throwing everything he can into it. And he forces Takayasu to sit on his ass. Now, once again, watch this match with what I said in mind. Takayasu is fighting to not lose. First in his career. Takayasu taking the charge, pushing forward. Abi trying to fight off those thrusts from Takayasu. Takayasu nearly stumbled. Abi jumping to the side, but Takayasu standing strong against the thrusts, not letting himself get slapped down. Abi slaps him to the side again. Takayasu reeling at the back. Oh, and he falls! The entire first 90% of that match, Takayasu was on offense. And he did not commit strong enough to any single attack that would give him the win at any moment. throughout the entire match, Abi is the one hopping around like a rabbit, trying to go for slapdowns, trying to stick to the side, trying to get around to the edge. And Takayasu, whether it was a lack of confidence in himself or like the knowledge that he has choked so many times in the past, I'm not sure what it might be, but he did not fight to win in that match. Abi did, and he deserves that win absolutely.
Now the question on everyone's minds is, will Takakeisho, will the Ozeki, will the world's number 2 be there?
And then, of course, here's the big controversial match. Takayasu Abi in the playoff.
I would say Abi has the advantage here, but it's anyone's game.
And I know a lot of people are mad about this match, but I stand by what I said.
It goes to Takayasu being pushed down by Abi. Perfect read.
Henka from Abi, and honestly, it's not even that good of a Henka. Watch the way Abi Henka's, you look at the Henka he had against Wakataka Kage, that was beautiful. You watch this Henka he has against Takayasu, it's like, yikes, dude, what are you doing? He gets the nice leap up, and he actually gets met by Takayasu. Takayasu catches him with the head here. He doesn't get that hand on the belt. Takayasu actually sniffs out this Henka. Takayasu gets caught right up in here, gets the hand on the thigh right there, but he can't bring this foot around in time, and he's going to get that slap down. And he stays down on the ground for quite a while after that, and I think you can actually see when and why in this match. You can see it right, boom. He takes that chest and that stomach right up to the head. And that's going to snap his neck back just a little bit. And that kind of like sudden jolt, especially at the neck. Like, it's one thing to expect the hands up at the neck because you can brace yourself for it. But when something like this happens, Abi leaping up, and it's actually crazy because if Takayasu doesn't get hurt here, he probably wins just taking advantage of the failed Henka. Like, I have the wrong colors again. But Abi, he doesn't get a grip on the belt. He's jumping up into the air. Takayasu has the hand on the thigh. But I think it's because he got rattled in that instant that he doesn't keep his footing. Because he immediately puts that hand down. And that foot is sliding back right there. And then after that, he stays down. But again, like, watch his half speed. Takayasu catches that Henka. That was not a very well performed Henka.
Pushed down by Abi. Perfect read.
I think, well, I've said it already. That rib cage hits Takayasu straight in the side of the head. And I don't think we were ever told what that injury was, but it's obviously head or neck. If Takayasu doesn't get hurt there, he wins this match because he just holds on to Abi. And I think it's because he gets hurt here that he loses and goes down. Now, there were some assholes that were saying, like, oh, he was just clearly having a tantrum in the middle of the ring because he lost, LOL. It's like, shut up. Man is clearly injured here. He stays down for a long time. And you can see he's holding his head. So I do think it's this, boom. Getting that chest straight to the head. Like, sure, he expects something. And his footing isn't even in that bad of a position, too. But I think Takayasu wins this if he doesn't get injured. And I think that's as much time as we need to spend on this match in particular. Oh,
Takayasu writhing on the ground.
Oh, this is terrible. Henka and Takayasu injured in this playoff.
A murderous move from Abi.
If Abi wins, it's for the... And now, with that Henka, it's the mind game again. The same one he pulled against Wakataka Kage. You know exactly how Takakeisho does his full-on, full-bodied thrusts forward at the Tachi-ai. But Takakeisho doesn't do that here. Because he knows, is he going to Henka again? And he fights scared. He's very slow to the Tachi-ai, actually takes the step back. And because of that, Abi gets it. Let's get to a better frame here that isn't so blurry and fuzzy. There we go. Takakeisho has a good Tachi-ai here. This is his bread and butter Tachi-ai, but he's afraid of the Henka, so he doesn't full commit to it. And you're going to see Abi, yes, he does have a hand up inside. He does have those hands up inside, but it's not the usual high up to the head and throat. So both of these Tachi-ais are off for these guys, and it could be the pressure of the Yusho. We know how it goes. But after this, we're going to see Takakeisho hops backwards. And he actually almost wins because Abi slips with that left foot. But now Takakeisho, he's the one moving back against Abi, and you never really want to be doing that because Abi manages to keep the arm up inside, and he's going to follow up. He's going to bring this foot forward, and he's going to, like, look at the way he's positioned. He's pushing forward here. Takakeisho is full defense mode. He's trying to get the hand to the shoulder. Not really sure what he's doing with that other hand on the inside, but right here, again, this is full defense from Takakeisho. He did not want to commit on the Tachi-ai. And because of that, now Abi is the one pushing him up at the edge, and Takakeisho is not very good at the edge. He is amazing as a sumo wrestler, but he's not very good at the edge, and this is Abi's bread and butter. He's already lost 2 times in the same fashion by overcommitting to an attack at the edge. So right here, instead of opting for, one huge thing, he puts both hands up high on the chest. Puts both hands up high on the chest, and we could see Takakeisho actually scooting over to the side right here, gonna try to get that deflection to the side, but Abi has very solid footing. Sure, his feet aren't square with each other, but he wants to be driving forward. Not the best footing, but his hips, his shoulders are square with his opponent. He has a good position right here, and he doesn't overcommit. That's the biggest thing. He hops these feet to the side, and he keeps these feet in this position because, again, he's driving forward. He's going to want to pump that knee up and forward so he can bring this big foot, boom, push all of that force forward. And from this position, hands to the throat, Takakeisho is on defense. He's stood up. He is flat-footed. It's over. There's really nothing Takakeisho could have done. And it's because at the Tachi-ai, Takakeisho was scared. I like that little pump he does too. Watch it as it's fading back out. He's like, yes! Now, you could have any opinion you want about Abi. You can have any opinion you want about, Henka or whatever else. Just don't be like that one asshole on Twitter who was saying it's crocodile tears that he's crying about his head coach who's in the hospital. Don't be that guy. Don't be that much of a douche. But really, you can hate Abi. I personally don't. I don't really hate any sumo wrestler. You can hate Henka. I obviously don't. It's a part of the sport. Molly's barking again. But all in all, this was a fantastic tournament. This was a fantastic win. There were a lot of other highlights this tournament. And again, if you haven't seen it already, you can watch my top 10 video. You could watch all those 15 days videos. I even got requests for Hirado Umi and Terutsuyoshi, who was a lowlight at this tournament. But even then, this was great sumo from Abi. Those 3 losses against those 3 opponents, he corrected himself. It's just usual straight Abi. He had a tough schedule. You got to remember, Kagayaki and Oho were in the Yusho races. He took out 2 of the 3 Sekiwake. He had to beat Takayasu twice in one day, and then he had to fight the Ozeki. He did not have an easy time at this tournament. He 100% deserves his win. I am here for the Abi Yusho, and I am here to see what the future holds, not just for him, but also for Takayasu. I've said it many times, but I think Takayasu could be on an Ozeki push. He has, 23 wins in the past 2 tournaments? Molly's barking again. But it is at the hour mark exactly. I've covered everything I want to cover. Be sure to look forward to more of these breakdown videos in the future. And they will be videos. They won't be streamed anymore because I think it just works out better that way. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.